The book of Matthew picks up about 400 years after Malachi finished writing the last book of the Old Testament. Each of the four Gospels tells the story of Jesus the Messiah, but much as four witnesses in a trial would see different details from slightly different angles, each of the writers of the four Gospels tells his story from a slightly different vantage point and to a slightly different audience. In Matthew's case, he's writing to a Jewish audience who are familiar with Jewish customs and laws as well as the prophecies about the promised Messiah. You may call your first witness. Matthew begins with the genealogy of Joseph, but don't get bogged down there. Next, he flies quickly through the early days of Jesus, born in Bethlehem, visited by angels and wise men, and a sudden trip to Egypt. We meet John the Baptist, and doing what he does best, baptizes Jesus in the Jordan River. Jesus spends 40 days in the desert without food and begins his ministry, collecting disciples, then preaching his signature sermon, the one on the Mount. Blessed are the poor, the meek, and the peacemakers, and how to live, love, and work with God and others. Jesus healed a bunch of people, cast out demons, and told several parables, which are representative stories, like an analogy, a metaphor, an allegory. He told parables about seeds and weeds, sheep and goats, pearls and treasures. The religious leaders decided they didn't like this new guy on their turf, and they planned to send him packing. When attempts to embarrass or discredit him only backfired, they started planning for his permanent retirement. Jesus chose his 12 disciples, changed Simon's name to Rocky, fed thousands with a few fish and some bread twice, healed some more people, and told more parables, all of which angered the leaders even more. Jesus rode a donkey into Jerusalem, cursed a fig tree, and condemned the religious leaders because they had forgotten justice, mercy, and faithfulness. Judas, one of his 12, turned traitor during the Last Supper. Jesus was tried, crucified, and died, but rose from the dead 3 days later and hung around for another month or so before going back home to heaven.